Tonight, an alleged terror attack stopped the FBI arresting multiple suspects, fearing they were plotting a violent Halloween weekend attack. Federal agents with guns drawn storming inside a Michigan home. The suspects accused of a terror plot targeting what they call Pumpkin Day, why investigators say they are connected to ISIS. Also tonight, fear and confusion over SNAP benefits. Lines at food banks around the country stretching for blocks. Millions of families set to lose government food assistance within hours. What two new rulings may mean for those in need and what the president just said. Dangerous drop the moment a JetBlue flight suddenly plunged. More than a dozen passengers rushed to the hospital. We will hear from those on board. Center of destruction, our team making it to the hardest hit part of Jamaica. The hospital there now operating without a roof. Catastrophic devastation as far as you can see. The death toll tonight only growing. Moment of impact, a fast-moving train plowing into a semi-truck stuck on the tracks, debris exploding in the air. Kim Kardashian versus NASA. The reality TV star doubling down on the conspiracy theory that astronauts never walked on the moon. How NASA is responding tonight. And the great pumpkin on the loose. Doorbell camera capturing the moment. One of those giant inflatable Halloween decorations starts to break free. The family's hilarious reaction going viral. Plus, why millions of YouTube TV subscribers will lose access to Disney content soon, including this weekend's college football game. Top story begins right now. Good evening, I'm Peter Alexander in for Tom tonight. As millions of trick-or-treaters and partygoers head out for Halloween, the FBI says its agents thwarted what Director Kash Patel calls a potential terrorist attack in Michigan. The dramatic early morning raid caught on camera. You can hear them there. First, those flashbangs. Those are stun grenades used to temporarily disorient the suspects inside. Then, as you can see, the agents with their guns drawn move in. Federal agents taking 5 people into custody who were accused of planning an attack allegedly referred to as Pumpkin Day. Tonight, multiple senior law enforcement officials tell NBC News the alleged plot is connected to ISIS. These raids carried out in Dearborn and Inkster, Michigan, just outside Detroit. At this hour, our team is learning new details about the alleged threat and why federal investigators took action now. NBC's Shaquille Brewster has been following all of it for us, and he's joining us from Michigan tonight. Shaq, good evening.
Good evening, Peter. Neighbors told me that it looked like a scene that was out of a movie. Law enforcement completely covering this street behind me. You heard and played some of that video where you hear flashbangs being used. Neighbors telling me it woke them up in the middle of the night. It happened around 6 a.m. this morning. This is just one of the homes where we know there was serious law enforcement activity. But tonight you have local law enforcement and local political leaders saying that they're breathing a sigh of relief.
Tonight, an alleged Halloween terror attack foiled. FBI agents yelling in Arabic, "This is the FBI," warning residents of this home that they have a warrant and to come out. There they go. Video showing the agents using flashbangs, then storming into the house in Dearborn, Michigan.
It's pretty scary because we have a lot of relatives around this neighborhood.
FBI Director Kash Patel announcing the raids on social media, writing the FBI stopped a potential terrorist attack before it could unfold, calling it a violent plot tied to international terrorism. 5 young individuals were taken into custody involving a plot to conduct an attack in the U.S. that has a connection to ISIS. 3 senior law enforcement officials tell NBC News, saying the suspects had discussed carrying out some sort of terror attack around Halloween, or what they allegedly referred to as Pumpkin Day. Agents seen searching through the homes.
Hours later, and we're still seeing agents walking in and out of that home, sometimes walking out with items and loading them into vehicles.
The suspects are naturalized citizens from a Middle Eastern country who had access to firearms and firearm training. 2 senior law enforcement officials briefed on the investigation tell NBC News.
Do you know the people who were in that house?
Yeah, friendly neighbors, good neighbors of ours. Nothing that I could speculate on them.
President Trump weighing in on the investigation this afternoon.
We're catching people before they ever start.
As Michigan's Attorney General expressed relief.
I can just say that I'm very, very grateful for the FBI's work in protecting the community and keeping people safe.
Shaq joins us now again from Michigan. Shaq, there is some new reporting that you have tonight about how long the FBI was tracking these suspects.
Yeah, we're hearing that it was at least for the past couple of days, and law enforcement officials telling NBC News that there's some indication that they may have been radicalized online. But look, there's still a lot of information that we just don't know at this point. We don't know the names of the individuals, their ages. We don't know any target or even the timing of any potential attack here. But tonight you're hearing from both local and federal law enforcement saying that members of the public are safe. There's no current threat to the public. Peter?
Shaquille Brewster there on the ground for us tonight in Michigan. Shaq, we appreciate it. For more, I want to bring in retired FBI Special Agent Daniel Bruner. Mr. Bruner, I appreciate you making time to talk to us. I want to start with the planning of this raid. It happened pre-dawn the morning of Halloween. We saw a team in tactical gear there deploying those flashbangs, those stun grenades as they're called, rushing inside this Michigan home. Does this, in your expertise, look like an operation that was planned for a while or something that was deployed more last minute?
Well, a lot of these operations, which occur at 6 a.m., are standard operations. If we do an arrest or if we conduct a search warrant, we'd be conducting it at 6 a.m. That would be, if it was an immediate, if this occurred at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, that would show me concern. That would be, okay, this is an imminent threat. This was probably a planned operation. They work in the investigation. They're working it for days or weeks, however it may be, undercovers, want to get as much information from the individuals. And they want to get to the point in the investigation, they want to get to the point where they feel that the individuals are about to conduct the attack, or whether the attack is imminent, that they expect it to happen within the next couple of days. So I believe that the SWAT team, was acting in part of an operation to hit the house and to call out the individuals. FBI doesn't normally swarm a house like they do in the movies now. There's an opportunity to have them called out. If they don't call out, then they go overt and do the flashbangs, and that's sort of in that more of an overt operation.
So pull back the curtain, if you can, for us a moment here. We saw that there was at least one truck there labeled FBI Evidence Response Team. What are agents working on behind the scenes today? Specifically, what would they be trying to tie together, I imagine, beyond just whether these were the only individuals involved?
Well, they're going to look at everything, physical evidence, digital evidence. They're going to look at all the evidence that is available at that house. So that search warrant, which was being executed right now, those evidence response team members from FBI Detroit are going to be taking every single piece of evidence and logging it, bringing it back to the office, whether it be a computer, a cell phone, a thumb drive. They're going to look at everything that may have been used to forward this attack, which could have been used to forward the attack. What had influenced them? Because obviously, if these conversations were online with the undercovers, that's one portion of it. They want to see where the radicalization came from, where their books, where their hand notes, how did they plan it? They want to see the conspiracy. Were they all planning it? Did they work on it? Were there conversations? Most importantly, those cell phones, those computers, that's going to provide a treasure trove of information.
And right now, Agent Bruner, some of the preliminary information says that these suspects were focusing on what they referred to as Pumpkin Day. We presume that, of course, to mean Halloween. In your time with the FBI, we've talked a lot about the holidays. Christmas and New Year's are obviously, circled on the calendar. But Halloween, has that often been viewed as a source of concern?
Well, I think that every day should be a source of concern in this community today, in our world today. If you're going to a gathering where there could be individuals. So I wouldn't say that necessarily Halloween would be necessarily something that should be extra alert. But people should be alert these days. There always should be a concern of, where they are, but it shouldn't affect our lives. It shouldn't change the way you live your life. Go out with your family, be in the community, be happy, enjoy your life, but just be a little bit more aware. Obviously, we're coming into the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas. Those are going to be more opportunities. Islamic extremists really enjoy and really target holidays and anniversaries to be an anniversary to possibly conduct an attack. So yes, Halloween could have been a situation where they know there's going to be lots of people in the Dearborn downtown community for a Halloween parade. So they were taking that opportunity. So that should be something that we should think about as moving forward. It's unfortunate, but that's the world we live in today.
Retired FBI Special Agent Dan Bruner. Agent Bruner, we appreciate you making time to speak to us tonight. Thank you.
My pleasure.
There is new confusion tonight for the millions of Americans set to lose their food assistance within hours, of course, due to the government shutdown, forcing many to go to food banks for the first time ever. Now, 2 new judges' rulings are giving them new hope. Here's Liz Kreutz.
Tonight, from Arizona to Florida, long lines at food banks, a sign of the fear and confusion facing the 42 million people at risk of losing federal food assistance. The Trump administration had said funding for SNAP benefits would run out tomorrow because of the government shutdown. But today, a federal judge now ruling the administration must continue to pay for the food aid program using contingency funds as soon as possible. How fast that can happen is unclear, and so millions, like the Leal family, remain stuck in limbo.
What can we say? It's unfair what they're doing. Very unfair.
Jocelyn and Jose waited more than an hour in 90-degree heat at this Los Angeles Salvation Army for a few boxes of food for them and their 5 children, including their 10-month-old twins. The couple says Jose's work as a contractor has been slow and that Jocelyn wants to go back to work, but they can't afford childcare. And so they rely heavily on the $750 a month they get in SNAP benefits.
How frustrating is all of this?
Highly frustrating. It's like being in a hole and not being able to dig yourself out. They've been saying that the cost of groceries are going to go down, and from what we see, it's just going higher and higher.
And they're not alone. Many of the people we met in line this week said it was the first time they turned to a food bank for help.
We're shattering records that you don't want to shatter. We had 803 families all alone last week, and we're going to pass that.
Tonight, President Trump pointing fingers at Democrats.
When you're talking about SNAP, if you look, it's largely Democrats. They're hurting their own people.
But it's not that simple. The 5 states with the highest percentage of SNAP recipients are both blue and red.
Well, I think it's a disgrace. The USDA's never done this in the past. They said they have a contingency fund for precisely this moment.
For Jocelyn and her family,
It's a lot.
the impact is far greater than politics.
They should stop with excuses and actually do what's right. It's not that we want to be here. It's that we have to try and find a way for our kids. We have to find a way.
And people posted on Truth Social weighing in on this. He says he wants clarification from the court on how contingency funds can legally be used to cover SNAP benefits during the shutdown. He says if they can be, then he will provide the funding, but says even if that happens, payments will still be delayed for millions. Peter.
Kreutz, thank you very much. And as you just saw, you can watch Kristen Welker's full interview with California Governor Gavin Newsom. It airs this Sunday on Meet the Press. Tonight, federal investigators are looking into what caused a JetBlue flight to suddenly drop at 35,000 feet. The move was so sudden that the plane had to make an emergency landing with more than a dozen people raced to the hospital for their injuries. Here is NBC's Tom Costello.
It happened on JetBlue Flight 1230 over the Gulf of Mexico.
We felt like we were free-falling for a second.
The pilot reporting he had injured passengers and crew members and needed to divert to Tampa.
We have a flight control issue, and we've got at least 3 people injured. Seems like maybe a laceration in the head.
Once on the ground, Tampa firefighters took 15 to 20 people to a local hospital. Some who'd hit their heads on the ceiling when the plane suddenly dropped at 35,000 feet.
People went flying through the cabin, and food and drinks also went flying through the cabin. I think some people really seriously hit their heads on the ceiling.
In a statement, JetBlue says it's taken the aircraft out of service for inspection and will conduct a full investigation to determine the cause. Aviation sources say the focus is on whether a problem with a wing flap caused the plane to suddenly pitch up and down.
This could have been a problem with the autopilot system where the airplane descended very rapidly and unexpectedly.
Meanwhile, the FAA also investigating a very close call at Boston Logan on Thursday, when controllers cleared a small Cape Air flight to take off from an intersecting runway, just as a Delta flight was about to land, ordering the Delta flight to go around and Cape Air to fly low to avoid a collision.
Go low. Going low. What the heck? That was close. Yeah, man. Not cool.
Also tonight, we are seeing more flight delays and ground stops at airports nationwide, up to 2 hours long, mostly in the Northeast. Nearly 5,000 delays and counting due to heavy wind, but also the ongoing controller shortage and the government shutdown. And Peter, that is expected to continue through the weekend. Back to you.
Tom Costello, we appreciate it. Thank you very much. And now to the trail of destruction from Hurricane Melissa. Much of Jamaica remains in the dark. And tonight, the death toll from this week's monster storm there is climbing. Our George Solis made it to the hardest hit part of the island.
This is the view of Black River from the air. Utter destruction as far as the eye can see. For days, the coastal town was completely cut off, the road blocked by rubble and mud. Today, we found mangled debris lining the road. Portions are still flooded. When we finally reached Black River, everyone we met was desperate for help.
We need water, no water.
Donna Barnes told me the day Melissa hit was the worst day of her life.
Has help been able to get here on the ground?
No. No one come around and say, no one.
Brianna Legister says she can't swim, and as the floodwaters rose, she had to find a way to float with her son to safety.
We don't have anything, everything washed out. We don't have any clothes for the baby. Everything gone, roof gone, house gone. We don't have nothing for sleep on.
Take a look at the devastation at the hospital here. The roof is completely gone. The windows of this ambulance blown out. And this is the wrecked children's ward, where several babies were being treated during the storm.
Here in Black River, residents are lining up for supplies, whatever they can get their hands on from a local pharmacy.
Officials say at least 19 people were killed in Jamaica during Melissa, bringing the storm's total death toll to at least 46 across the Caribbean. In Cuba today, more rescues after rain soaked a region already battered by Melissa. This man carried from his home on a soldier's shoulders. While back in Jamaica, officials promise more help is on the way. More relief flights are arriving each day. And despite significant damage to 2 terminals, Montego Bay's airport will begin commercial flights tomorrow. Very welcome news for stranded tourists.
The first caravan of relief is scheduled to arrive tomorrow as organizations and nonprofits mobilize to enter the hardest hit communities. For those living in these unimaginable conditions, that help can't come soon enough. Peter?
Just an awful scene there. George Solis on the ground for us again tonight in Jamaica. And now to that chilling massacre, an attack on a maternity hospital killing hundreds, all of it happening in Sudan. Tonight, Keir Simmons is in neighboring Egypt, where eyewitnesses are giving harrowing accounts and a warning some of the images in this report are disturbing.
Tonight, a horror unfolding in Sudan. These are Sudanese militia accused of mass killings. 460 people murdered in a maternity hospital, the World Health Organization says. Here, a man in civilian clothes pleads for his life. Seconds later, he is shot and executed. And the slaughter can even be seen from space. Satellite pictures of the besieged city of Al-Fasher show red stains in the sand and bodies strewn around. The atrocities carried out by the Rapid Support Forces, locked in Sudan's more than 2-year civil war against the army. And it's happening in Darfur, site of a genocide 20 years ago. Here, a camera close-up of an RSF commander, Abu Lulu, as he shoots a line of people. The rebels say they later arrested him, but there's no independent verification. Many of the images so disturbing we cannot show them. And in a chilling account obtained by NBC News, an eyewitness describes civilians massacred. Shot in the head and heart, this man says. They ran over us with their vehicles. I was with my sisters and my female cousins. 2 of them were killed right there. Here in neighboring Egypt, we met Emmanuel Peter, who runs a charity.
People are being slaughtered, and these are innocent people.
He says a colleague's family was killed.
She lost 4 of her brothers.
4 of the brothers, yes.
Keir Simmons joins me now from Cairo, Egypt. Keir, those pictures are so dramatic. The fact that you can see the blood stains from satellite images here. Is there anything being done by the international community to try to stop this situation from getting worse?
Well, the international community, Peter, has been calling for an end to the violence almost since it began, but still we are getting reports of thousands of people trying to flee, and the United Nations saying 130,000 children are still in that city of Al-Fasher and at risk of being killed or being kidnapped. Congress is calling on President Trump to intervene to try to help to get some kind of a ceasefire. The country, the United Arab Emirates, is criticized, accused of supporting the rapid forces there, the rebels that you saw in my piece. The UAE denies that it is supporting them. It is itself calling for a ceasefire. It is saying that there are atrocities on all sides. So this is a deeply political conflict in which the violence just seems to be escalating, Peter, and it's very hard to see how comes to an end. But really, these scenes in this city are bringing it to the attention of the world, and people are very, very concerned now, particularly for what is happening there and to the people there. Peter?
We appreciate you opening up our eyes to the dramatic and awful situation unfolding again in Sudan. Thank you so much. And back here at home in Birmingham, Alabama, a massive fire erupted early this morning, burning down multiple homes, leaving more than a dozen people displaced. There's plenty of dramatic video we're now seeing from there. Look at this. It shows flames engulfing several structures. You can see those flames shooting into the air, the smoke filling with the sky filling with smoke. We want to bring in Jarvis Robertson. He is from NBC's Birmingham, Alabama affiliate, WVTM. Jarvis, I appreciate your joining us here. Give us a sense. What is the latest there down tonight? And has everybody that's been displaced found a safe place to go?
Well, Peter, the good news tonight, no one has been injured from this fire, but from sunrise to sunset, that massive fire, it has been the focus of the Birmingham Fire and Rescue Service. I want to take you guys here live to the scene. You can see right now they are still putting out hot spots because of that massive fire. Now, for any of your viewers that are familiar with Birmingham, Alabama, this is happening on 20th Street South. This is a major thoroughfare through our city, and it has been closed for over 12 hours. Now, this fire started sometime around 5:30 this morning. Again, that's when it was first reported. Fire officials say it started at a structure that is sitting to the left of this condo apartment complex, and it quickly spread to two neighboring buildings. Now, the complex where they are putting out the hotspot set, it has a for sale sign that's sitting in the front. That is not going to be happening unless someone wants to come in and completely pay for demolishing this apartment complex. So we are still working to find out how the fire started, but again, it has definitely had the attention of our firefighters today. Peter?
Jarvis Robertson reporting for us from Birmingham, Alabama. Jarvis, we appreciate your reporting. Thank you very much. Back now with Top Stories news feed, starting with a new lawsuit connected to the deadly shooting on the Rust movie set. The man who supplied prop guns and blank ammo now suing Alec Baldwin and other employees who worked on that film. In the lawsuit, Seth Kennedy says they wrongly portrayed him as the person responsible for the accidental death of cinematographer Helena Hutchins back in 2021. We reached out to a representative for Baldwin, but they declined to comment. And a shocking mix-up in the mail just days before Halloween. A woman in Kentucky receiving a package that was supposed to be medical supplies, but when she opened it, there were human body parts inside, apparently arms and fingers. A coroner there says the box was intended to be delivered for surgical training. We're told the remains have now been returned, and the woman eventually got the correct package. And a terrifying train crash near Amsterdam. You can see a big truck driving across the tracks there, trying to get across, when a high-speed passenger train slams right into it, sending its entire load flying. The load, it turns out, thousands of pears. A Dutch train operator, ProRail, says remarkably 5 people suffered only minor injuries in that crash, and that they released the video to prevent a similar situation from happening again. And a big setback for the millions of people who watch YouTube TV. Disney content, including popular channels like ABC, ESPN, and Nat Geo, just got pulled from the platform. It comes after the two sides failed to reach a new streaming contract. The standoff could impact some major sports coverage, like college football games and Monday Night Football as well. And a rare spectacle. This was in the skies above Wisconsin. Look at it. That flash of light, it's a meteor that was caught on a police cruiser's dash cam. Stargazers say there were nearly 36 of these so-called fireball meteors spotted that night in Minnesota, 70 more in Wisconsin. And a dramatic scene, several armed suspects seen chasing a girl in an attempted home invasion. Tonight, police say they have made arrests in that case. Some of the accused are teenagers themselves. Here's NBC's Camila Bernal.
Terrifying surveillance video showing the moments police in Northern California say a girl spots armed suspects outside her home who suddenly run after her. Police say the girl got inside the house and told her family to call for help. The suspects running away.
I can't believe something like that happened in Union City.
That is very scary.
Her quick thinking possibly stopping what police there called an attempted home invasion.
All matching the description.
The next day, 70 miles away,
All right, pit is mobilized.
a chase that Modesto police say led to the arrest of the same suspects. Officers rushing in to stop another possible attempted home invasion.
Get your hands up!
4 suspects accused of holding a family at gunpoint. 3 teens ages 14 to 17 and a 22-year-old taken into custody.
Get your hands up! Don't move.
Police recovering at least 1 weapon.
How crucial is the quick police action in a case like this?
I mean, it's a blue ribbon for Modesto PD. This was a tragedy, looking for an address, and Modesto PD put an end to it.
Camila Bernal joins us now from Los Angeles. Camila, we saw those arrests, which is good news. Where does the investigation go now?
Hey, Peter. So the expert that I spoke to says that looking at the handguns is going to be key in this investigation. He says ATF will likely get involved to see where the guns came from, where they from California, where they stolen, did they come from somewhere else? And that way they'll be able to identify whether there is more people who could possibly be involved in all of this. Overall, though, the expert says that the quick action from the police officers is what really is important here, not just because of the arrest, but also because this expert believes that it will deter the people that did this from doing this again, and also help other people understand that if they try to do this, an arrest is likely going to come quickly. So hopefully this doesn't happen again, especially when it comes to teenagers. Peter?
Yeah, it turns out catching them on camera really helped those authorities in this situation. Camila Bernal, we appreciate it. Thank you very much. Also tonight, the Department of Homeland Security is carrying out more of those immigration raids across the country. And the agency says it's targeting what it calls the worst of the worst. But Chuck Gowdy from NBC Chicago got a look at DHS data that shows many of those arrested, in fact, have no criminal records.
When the tear gas clears, body slam bruises fade, and undocumented immigrants are hauled away, the real story of who the government actually has arrested is in this honeycomb of numbers, broken down by how much of a threat arrestees are and whether they were ever convicted of any crime. From the start of the White House effort to remove undocumented immigrants, the messaging has been direct.
We have focused overwhelmingly day after day after day on bringing in the worst of the worst and getting them off of our streets. Those are the murderers, the rapists, the pedophiles.
The government has plastered its motto on crisp web pages, reinforcing they're after the worst of the worst. And they've taken to posting pictures and backgrounds of criminal fugitives who are thought to be in the United States illegally. But according to its own data, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, the agency known as ICE, is falling far short of maximizing this extensive law enforcement effort that has resulted in tens of thousands of arrests in Chicago and across the country. The past year of ICE data analyzed by NBC5 Investigates shows that on average nationally, 84% of detainees have no criminal convictions, a figure that also reflects what we have found in Chicago since Operation Midway Blitz began September 9th.
I would even say probably over 90-some% have no past criminal convictions.
It kind of shoots the mission in the foot, doesn't it?
The irony here is over the last 10 months, we've seen an administration focused on the sort of theatrical arrests. There hasn't been a focus on or a prioritization or even putting resources against removing those that have final orders of removal and that those that are national security or public safety threats.
Less than 7% of those arrested the past year are considered serious threats by ICE, and numerous detainees at first labeled as worst of the worst apparently aren't so, including these 3 who were called out in ICE press releases as worst of the worst. Our investigation finding no criminal convictions here.
ICE has a finite and a specific amount of detention beds or jails that they can put individuals in. Americans need to ask themselves if those should be used for those that have no criminal conviction, have been working here for decades, and just for the sort of the theatrics of meeting these quotas of arrests and removal, or if those beds should be utilized for those that are convicted criminals, gang members, human drug traffickers.
Our thanks to Chuck Gowdy for that. NBC News investigates. We want to also note NBC Chicago reached out to DHS for documentation of the alleged crimes these people were arrested for. So far, they have not received any response. Now to the international cruise taking a detour, rescuing dozens stranded on a sailboat right in the middle of the Mediterranean. NBC Philadelphia reporter Ted Greenberg spoke to the American passengers who saw that dramatic rescue unfold.
They've savored the sights of the Greek islands and Italy, but an unexpected turn for the Norwegian epic surprised thousands of passengers, including Diane Wieland and her husband from Middle Township, New Jersey.
We look over and we see what looked like a small sailboat just floating around.
On the second night of its voyage last week, the Norwegian cruise line ship responded to a search and rescue operation in the Mediterranean Sea. That sailboat had apparently become stranded.
My husband has binoculars and he looked there and he thought there's an awful lot of people on that boat.
63 people rescued by the Epic's crew and brought to safety aboard the ship, supporting what Norwegian described in this letter to passengers as an important humanitarian mission. Although it's unclear where these people came from, many rescues involving migrants and asylum seekers have unfolded in recent years in the Mediterranean.
With Afghanistan being turned back over to the Taliban, that has definitely created a new flow of migrants and asylum seekers into the European continent.
From what the captain was saying, they needed some food and water and some medical attention.
Coordinating with the Greek Coast Guard, the Epic altered its itinerary to bring the rescued people to Kalamata. A scheduled stop on Santorini Island canceled.
Kind of puts in perspective, there's a lot of issues out there that are more important.
That diversion was mandatory because international law requires ships to assist people in vessels in distress at sea.
While they were obligated to do the rescue, it really is sort of an expectation embedded into our world system.
Lives saved at sea, and for those aboard the cruise, an unforgettable change in course. Ted Greenberg, NBC 10 News.
We appreciate that reporting from our friend Ted Greenberg in Philadelphia. Still ahead on Top Story, the reality check for reality star Kim Kardashian. NASA slamming Kardashian for pushing conspiracy theories about the moon landing. The viral back and forth is next. Back now with two very different worlds colliding. Kim Kardashian and NASA. In a newly released episode of The Kardashians, Kim said that she does not believe the 1969 moon landing really happened. The viral clip revived a conspiracy plaguing science for more than 50 years now, and NASA is out to set the record straight. NBC's Stephen Romo has more.
On the latest episode of The Kardashians.
For the record, do you think that we didn't walk on the moon?
I don't think we did. I think it was fate.
Kim Kardashian diving deeper into her theories while speaking with actress Sarah Paulson.
Sending you, so far, 1 million interviews with both Buzz Aldrin and the other one.
Do it.
And this girl says, what was the scariest moment? And he goes, there was no scary moment because it didn't happen. It could have been scary, but it wasn't because it didn't happen.
Kardashian now pushing a 50-year-old conspiracy theory, and NASA is not having it. Acting Administrator Sean Duffy firing out a quick response on X. Yes, Kim Kardashian, we've been to the moon before 6 times.
If we had actually faked the moon landing, the Soviet Union would have called us out on it.
Eileen Collins was the first female space shuttle commander.
Having risked their lives to do something that important and then have someone say it didn't happen, I can understand why many of them would be upset about that.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Buzz Aldrin, the second person to walk on the moon just after Neil Armstrong, is no stranger to being bombarded by these conspiracy theories. In fact, in 2002, Aldrin, while outside a Beverly Hills hotel, was confronted by filmmaker Bart Sibrel, who asked him to swear on a Bible that the moon landing was real or admit it was a hoax. Aldrin's reaction? Caught on camera. A punch to the face. LAPD never prosecuted Aldrin, saying it was provoked. The Buzz Aldrin clip Kardashian is using as her evidence went viral a couple of years ago and was quickly debunked. It was taken out of context from a 2015 interview. Kardashian falsely saying,
"There's no gravity on the moon. Why is the flag blowing?"
It's waving because they're shaking it. You can watch them.
Scientists point to more recent satellite images capturing the remnants of the Apollo mission.
To fake that requires such a high level of sophistication of computer-generated imagery and special effects. We actually weren't capable of faking that film-wise.
We asked Kim Kardashian for comment, but have not yet heard back. NASA's Sean Duffy, though, offering a dose of reality and inviting her to watch the next moon launch with her own eyes.
So there's a lot to do with what we just saw there. Let's be clear. Kim Kardashian, Stephen, who joins us here, has 350 million followers. So when she says something, a lot of people listen. She said Buzz Aldrin, that other guy, presumably she's referring to Neil Armstrong. We can correct that.
Buzz Lightyear, maybe. You never know.
Right. What is the reaction from some of those followers to her false theories?
Yeah, I looked at a lot of the responses today. So many people were calling her out and saying that you should not use TikTok to do your research and criticizing her. But there were plenty of people who were sharing their own theories and going right along with her, saying that they believe the same thing. So it seems it's safe to say that this has definitely breathed some new life into this 50-year-old conspiracy theory that NASA now still trying to knock down. I will say Sarah Paulson didn't seem to be buying this very much either in that original clip. So we've not heard from her. I'm curious what her thought process was hearing this old conspiracy theory.
Yeah, it's a good reminder. They're not just conspiracy theories. This kind of misinformation, disinformation can also be dangerous when it misleads people across the country and the world. Nice to see you in person, Stephen. Appreciate that reporting. And this Halloween, it is not witches taking flight, but it is pumpkins. One mom got a bit carried away with this year's decorations, quite literally. You'll want to see this. Emily Aketa shows us the entertaining result when one of those giant inflatable pumpkins was nearly gone with the wind.
This is the moment the Morgan family's docile Halloween decoration transformed into a runaway pumpkin, giving Mom Katie a spirited scare.
What was going through your mind at this point?
I thought it was going to take out the neighborhood, hit the cars. I was just thinking that I was going to be dealing with the aftermath of the catastrophic pumpkin going down the streets.
Her 4- and 7-year-olds also jumping into action, while Dad Chris witnessed the chaos unfold over their Ring camera.
Leopold, it's Dad. Can you hear me? Hey, buddy, unplug it.
Trying to calm the family, though to no avail. Leopold at one point tossing the phone.
I'm trying to put instructions over to the boys, and they're just so excited and screaming and laughing at the same time.
The video has racked up millions of views on social media. You can even see Katie's feet lift off the ground in her attempts to corral the billowing blow-up.
I was just hanging on to it, and I'm like, boys, if I take to the sky, make sure, just call Grandma.
After 12 minutes, Katie manages to wrangle the runaway by unzipping its sides, as little Lennon tries to capture the moment.
Let me just take a picture of you for one today.
A memory they'll surely never forget.
Happy Halloween!
Emily Ikeda, NBC News.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.